Hi there, crafty friends. Welcome and thank you for joining me. Today we are taking a look at Spellbinders' brand new sentiment sets. And these are dies. You get your outline die and you get your little sentiment, your greeting. We've got Hello Friend and Thank You. These actually released on Friday, April 10th. And Spellbinders did send me these to create for them. So we are going to make two cards today. I got the thank you and a hello friend, but they also have thinking of you with sympathy, happy birthday, best wishes, get well soon, and congrats. And these are like a staple that you can use all the time, over and over and over. Everything I used today will be listed and linked in the description below. So let's go ahead and start with our background. For my background, I am using the script text press plate, and I have hot foiled that onto a piece of indigo cardstock, and I used opal. I love opal because you get such a nice light look on your cardstock, and it's just beautiful. You move it and you get that little bit of shine, but it's not too bright like as if you were to use a white or a gold. It just gives you a nice light image back there. And I am also bringing in the scallop journal card set, and I've got my floral image. I've got one already assembled, and I've got all my pieces for my second, and we will go ahead and assemble that. For this card, we will be using Hello Friend. I will trim down my background to 4 by 5 1/4, and then we can assemble our other little flower cluster here. So I've cut my images out of Blush and Tutu, and I am just going to try to fluff up my flowers here before I assemble my little spray. And I also cut my flower centers out of silver. And this comes together so quickly. It does take a little bit of time for the die cutting, but once you get everything die cut, it comes together in no time. And I'll just try to offset that flower. Then we can add our centers. And then we've got our little flower here. I cut those out of the same coordinating colors. And we actually want to add this first because our other flowers will overlap, and we want to make sure that that gets down there and adheres before we add everything else. And I decided to do my spray out of white because I thought it would just make everything pop on that dark blue background. Now we can add our flowers, and I'm just following the same pattern that is on the package. And that is assembled just as quickly as that. So for my Hello Friend, I've got my outline, and then I've got two cut out of white cardstock, and then I cut one out of the silver, and I will just stack these. And a fine tip glue bottle will be your friend because these are thin, dainty lines. Then with our sentiment all stacked, we can go ahead and add that to our outline. So I've got a top folding card base here. I went ahead and I added foam tape back behind my panel. And then I've also got thin foam squares back behind my flower clusters. And we're just going to try to angle this. Then we can add our other flower cluster up to the top. And then for my sentiment, I added the thicker foam squares because our sentiment is basically the star of the show here. So I will center that between my two sprays. That looks about right. I think I even got it straight. That's pretty good for the first try. And then I've got some extra little flowers that I cut out of white. And we are just going to strategically place those all throughout. And that card is done. I love that sentiment. Hello, friend. I went ahead and I added some opal color essential gems to the centers of my very smallest white flowers. And I think that just totally finishes that off. And that is our Hello, Friend outline and sentiment die. I also did one in teals. Don't forget to fluff up your flowers. This one's been sitting, so all my little flowers kind of came unfluffed. And then I also did the same thing in purples. And I used that same opal foil on my background, and I just love that. So those are our Hello Friend card. Let's go ahead and move on to card number 2. So for card number 2, we are using the thank you. And I went ahead, I've got a top folding card base, and I cut my panel from Fairy Tale, and I hot foiled that again with opal using that same script text press plate. I've adhered that with foam tape, and then I'm bringing back in that scallop journal cards, only this time we are using the scallop circles, and we're just going to get a little bit of a different look using that. So I've got foam tape back behind that. I've got a white layer and a fairy tale layer, and I will just go ahead and I will try to center that as best as I can towards the top, but I want my right and left to be centered. And I already pre-assembled everything because you did see me assemble the flower cluster in our first card. I'm going to place that up in the left-hand corner. And I do have foam squares back behind my flowers for more dimension. And then we've got our thank you. For my thank you, I did stack that. I've got 2 cut in white and then 1 in my gold foil. And those are all stacked. I will place that down here. Then we can add a couple little accent flowers. And our second card is done just like that. Using the new layered sentiments from Spellbinders, this was our thank you. I added a couple fashion gold pearls to that. And I've also got one in white. That is the thank you. Then we've also got our hello that we created. We've got a kind of teal one there. We've got a purple sample, and we've got our sample that we made. And those are just a few ideas for you using the layered sentiments from Spellbinders. Thank you so much for spending time with me. Please be sure to leave me a comment, give me a thumbs up. Everything I used today will be listed and linked in the description below, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.